you, Clive.
I would ask you to sing, but save the voices for later. My job here is to introduce your hosts, Clive and Nick, and I'm going to very quickly hand the microphone over to them. So, Clive and Nick.
Okay.
Well, come on then, get yourself up here.
Oh, shut up.
On me, well, first off, we'd like to thank everyone out there.
Get a room.
First off, we'd like to welcome everyone for joining us here this afternoon. And as it's going to be an afternoon of poetry and open mic, we thought we'd start the proceedings off by doing a couple of poems each ourselves. So, up to you, Clive. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I ain't got a bottle.
Fair enough. You don't need a bottle. It's a pub, mate. They give you glasses here. It's a posh one. I recently got a job working as a greyhound commentator up at Swindon Stadium, and as they won't let me do any of the poems, any of the commentaries in the form of a poem, I thought I'd write a poem in the form of a greyhound commentary. It's called The Race of His Life, and goes something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute's betting remaining until the race of his life. The hare's running, the hare's approaching the traps, and snap! The hare is caught in the trap along with the rest of us. Now back to the race. And they're off, and it's bewildered Nick making all the running as they head towards the first bend of many. This youngster is making ground against potty training, preschool, infancy, and an introduction to the basics of capitalism through playground economics. A little bumping there for masturbation, self-loathing and puberty as they go into the second bend, but it's still bewildered Nick tight on the rails as they head onto the back straight, leading by a length from immaturity, with insecurity, bad decisions, unemployment and an unsuitable girlfriend all gaining on him. Bewildered Nick still leading by some good head from a girl he met in the nightclub and a kicking from her boyfriend half an hour later. Closely followed by sympathy, a series of dates, cohabitation and an unexpected wedding. As they go into the third bend, bewildered Nick losing ground now to 2 kids, a mortgage, depression, disaffection with his job and a nagging fear of failure. Bewildered Nick still leading by Nick from redundancy and a feeling of worthlessness, with midlife crisis making a move and depression still in and out of the pack as they go into the fourth and final bend. Middle-aged falling away to be passed by you an old bastard now, nostalgia, confusion and minor regrets also coming into the running as they head down the home straight towards the finish. It's bewildered Nick from grandchildren with not enough exercise, too many fags and both your parents died from cancer, you bloody idiots, as they hurtle towards the line. Retirement, boredom and longing for release, now fighting for position with mild incontinence and unusual smells. But bewildered Nick hanging on to the lead with death close behind now as they race the last couple of metres towards the line. It's bewildered Nick from death, and it's bewildered Nick and death neck and neck as they cross the line for a photo finish. A photo finish there, ladies and gentlemen, between bewildered Nick and death. And we have the result of that photo, ladies and gentlemen. The winner is Death. Death wins by 1 length exactly. Death always wins by exactly 1 length. Thank you. And the next one's a bit of foolishness that came to me a couple of days ago, purely because I was listening to the radio and they played the Duran Duran song. So this one's called Rio. Her name is Rio, and while she does move with the litheness and gracefulness of a professional dancer, that is where any trace of similarity or parity with the heroine of Duran Duran's eponymous 1980s hit single ends. She works as a navvy, mends the pavements and roads, tends to potholes and cracks with savvy and style, her dedication written in mile upon mile of smooth silky black, just like that river, although this one of pure tarmac. The first time I saw her was not on the beach nor TV. She stood shoveling sand from the back of a lorry, stepping nimbly to the right as she deftly flicked grainy shovelfuls to the left. I was jealous of that shovel gripped tight in her hand, but thankful that the traffic queue and temporary lights allowed me to savour that first delightful view of my lovely Rio brand. Strong as a horse, language so coarse, expletive so choice, even her co-workers blush at her stories and jokes while I drive all day. Windows wound down, searching the highways and byways and towns in hope I might catch one brief snatch of her deep, dusky voice. She is my tarmac queen, the airflow of obscene adjectives and adverbs as she woman handles paving slabs and curves into place. I wish my fingers could one day trace the rugged contours of that beautiful, weather-beaten, sun-tanned face. But alas, it can never be. I am not her kind. It seems she doesn't like men, but I don't mind. I can still dream. And in those dreams, Rio dances gracefully with me, along a beach of gleaming white sand, in a manner that is reminiscent of a certain river, twisting sinuously through several dark and dusty lands. Thank you. I shall now hand over to the tall Brummy.
That's Brummy anyway. Right, I'm going to do a couple. The first one is, one or two of you may have heard it actually, but it's a reply to the poetry snob who took to trolling me on Facebook and various other places as well, telling me that I wasn't a poet, that I was childish and my friends were all useless and only his type of poetry was poetry. So I stuck this on his Facebook, left it there for a few days and then blocked him. And it's called Poet. I am not a poet. Pin back your ears, confirm the fears you always held as infantile words wash over you and leave without a trace. If depth of meaning came from the tap, there wouldn't be enough to clean your face. I know the biggest problem is truth. My truth. I call it as I see it, a panacea to misunderstanding, my poetic standing hindered by refusal to wrap my words in unbreakable codes, pull metaphors from so far up my arse they can hear my nose. That's not me. You're right, you see. I have no education, no fixation with mysterious oration. My vocab carries no flab, is lean enough to be understood by people on the streets, peers from my neighbourhood who never got the breaks where life was not a breeze. Brains got us nowhere because we didn't have the keys. So I'm amply pleased with a pat on the back and a short ovation. I have no certificates for creative writing, no masters, no degrees. I come from the masses, the working classes trendies like you claim to stand for, purport to support. By the time I found my way, I had a family to fend for, a beautiful daughter who means more than any academic awards to show how lucky I have been. And yes, I swear a lot. I am a football-obsessed idiot. Don't care one jot if I upset some plastic socialist with a cupboard bare of manners. I know where I come from. I know the smell of shit. And I never could abide a fucking hypocrite. And the second one, I'm slightly hesitant to do because there are kids around, but I'm sure it's going to be alright. But it's a...
Kids are smiling.
Yeah.
Kids are smiling.
It's supposed to be humorous, so I hope it is. It's called Pride and Passion. She emerged from the bathroom as I lay, excited, expectant on the king-size bed, disbelief running through my head. 5 numbers on the lottery paid for this. A near miss, but good enough to bring this bliss. A luxury hotel with the most beautiful woman I've ever kissed, who didn't smell like rotting fish. She looked at me and froze. Her mouth dropped open and wouldn't close. The colour drained from her face, like the leaves had fallen from the trees midsummer, bare branches in their place, circumstances changing at incredible pace. You could have thought she'd seen a ghost or the face of Christ in a piece of toast. She looked like she would choke on fear. She tried to scream. The sound stayed inside her, where I should have been. Though she did manage to mutter, with a petrified stutter, oh my God, look at the size. That. Surprised and flattered, I realised that at that moment all that mattered was to reduce her state of shock. So I reached for a sheet to cover my cock, as I swelled with pride. Then I saw it, the biggest spider in creation, waiting like Aragog on steroids, looking agitated and annoyed at me intruding in its space. My woman fled and never came back, dumped me, ditched me, gave me the sack. And that's nothing new. I always lost my women, relationships, the length of a crotchet or a minim. My face was acne, my rhyme was hackneyed, or the smell just left them all distracted. I've given it thought, enacted changes to avoid the ranges of emotion from ecstatic to distraught. How could I know a fucking giant arachnid would appear, create a commotion and leave such terrible trauma impacted? You know, there's nothing I can do, no avenues I can pursue to win her over. Yes, she breached the contract flagrantly, but I'll never get a refund from the agency. So, typical of life for me. I'm the type who'd make a date with Sharapova and end up with Virginia Wade or Betty Stover, neither of whom I fancy. Then book a sudden escort with arachnophobia and offer her a threesome with a Nancy. Thank you.